YNW Melly's lawyers just filed a motion to dismiss the case. As it reads, in the 10-page list of dismissal motions, it includes that Detective Mark Moretti gave a warrant to Melly's mother, Jamie King, and confiscated her cell phone with excessive force illegally outside his jurisdiction. The motion also makes the claim that the prosecutor allegedly hid info regarding Detective Moretti, asking a Broward Sheriff's Office to lie on his behalf, which leads to claims of Moretti committing robbery against Jamie King, then ending in the motion filed by Jamie Benjamin, Melly's defense requests that the state's plans to present witnesses in the argument based on the agreement between Melly and the late YNW sack chaser to share or split all of the money made in Melly's career, and no motive as to why Melly would do this to his two best friends. It is referenced as hearsay, so to fully understand the dismissal paperwork, we first need to dive deep into Jamie King's complaint against Mark Moretti, as Mark went after Melly's mother in a very serious way. It reads, "We received a complaint by an attorney representing Jamie King. King is the mother of Jamel Demmons, the given name of YNW Melly. YNW Melly's lawyers filed a motion in his case seeking Brady material against the detective. Brady material refers to information that could be used to question the integrity of law enforcement officers who testify in criminal cases." As it continues, details about the encounter between Melly's mother and Moretti were not available Thursday, with one exception. While the incident took place on October 12th, 2022, the complaint was not filed until this month, as allegedly YNW Melly's mother was called in for interrogation by Mark Moretti. Once arriving to the interrogation room, Mark Moretti wanted Melly's mother's cell phone for evidence or possible evidence against Melly. However, she was refusing to give it up, causing Moretti to try grabbing it from out of her hands. This caused Jamie King to have a hand injury. As let me take you back 7 months ago, January 2nd, YNW Melly's mother and B-Slime were on a No Jumper podcast, where Jamie King can be seen with a cast around her hand, mentioning that a police officer was responsible for it. Not wanting to get into full detail to mess up Melly's current case, she did hint it was a Broward Sheriff's officer, and with YNW Melly being denied bond yesterday, it is not surprising me that Melly and his lawyers are now trying to raise this concern about Mark Moretti now inside of the courtroom. When YNW Melly was denied bail yesterday, the court hearing began with the judge speaking to YNW Melly's lawyers and the prosecution.
I just back on the record, please. The State of Florida versus Demmons, President Lieutenant Demmons is counsel, is the state attorney. Yes, so you're indicating you want me to roll this for sometime next week?
Yes, for a calendar call for Wednesday before is available.
And if that's signed, just want to remind defense counsel that a trial in this courtroom, so we won't have a lot of time to do
It should take 2 seconds.
Okay.
Thank
Put it
you.
up for Wednesday, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
As the camera would cut off right when the judge announces that his bond is being denied. Thankfully, Bryson Paul was inside of the courtroom and would report for us. Judge Murphy has officially denied bail leading into his retrial, which begins jury selection on October 9th. In an official order, Judge Murphy issued the following. After careful consideration, the court finds that the state has met its burden of demonstrating that proof of guilt is evident and that the presumption of guilt is great. The jurors' inability to reach a unanimous verdict does not alter the nation or weight of the evidence of defendant's guilt. In other words, the judge is saying YNW Melly is guilty, however the prosecutors didn't make it seem guilty enough to the jury. Once learning the information, YNW Melly looked defeated inside of the courtroom. He is seen standing up, walking out of the courtroom, however his mom told him to smile. as YNW Melly's mother, Jamie King, tells him to keep standing tall as she knows she has a backup plan, being the Mark Moretti situation. She would even go and post on her Instagram, "Nothing will stop my faith, not even this. Bond was denied." However, the most interesting part was found through an amazing source who would notice that YNW Bortland was attending Melly's bond hearing.
And the second thing is YNW Bortland attended today's hearing via Zoom. You see him right there. Which a few weeks ago, the question was raised if Melly's retrial in October would include YNW Bortland, and this is making me think that it will. So we'll see what happens.
As this now raises the question of, is Melly and Bortland gonna be getting tried together in the upcoming retrial? It is a very terrible thing if that does happen, as explained by this lawyer.
Issue here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking a penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found guilty.
As this is now starting to connect a lot of the dots in YNW Melly's case, so follow along closely. If YNW Melly and Bortland are tried together, it will make a lot of sense as to why YNW Melly fired his original lawyer, being David A. Howard. David Howard, during Melly's original trial, was trying to put all of the evidence against YNW Bortland. Bortland didn't appreciate what he was doing at all. 15 minutes into day one of Melly's trial, David Howard announced that this was YNW Bortland's fault practically.
Demon's lies, those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two bodies, a car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry. There were 3 phones.
As that is David Howard revealing that it was always YNW Bortland that was lying to the feds, it was Bortland with powder residue on his hands, and that he was the last one with juvie and sack chaser. Howard would even bring up a forensic scientist that covered the passings to go into further detail on Bortland having the powder residue on his hands.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of powder residue and 2 component particles, and the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of powder residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was powder residue present on the hands.
As YNW Bortland does not like David Howard and doesn't appreciate what he did in Melly's trial, bringing his name up. This is why when YNW Melly's mistrial was granted, YNW Bortland tweets a mysterious message on the same day YNW Melly's mistrial was declared. The tweet would share, "Mind games don't work on people like me," alongside a handshake emoji as if he's accepting a deal. However, here's where things get even crazier, as when you look into the reason why YNW Melly was truly denied bail, it all begins with YNW Juvie's mother telling the judge why YNW Melly should not receive a bond out of jail until his retrial is over.
Ms. Phillips, you were the mother of Christopher Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
And what are your thoughts or opinion on Jamel Demons receiving a bond in the of your son?
I don't think he should receive a bond, but I do know that he innocent to proven guilty, but these are some serious accusations against him. So, and I understand he has money and don't want anything, nothing to happen to me or my family. So I don't think that he should be granted a bond at all.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips.
It's hard to hear exactly what she stated, but she said, and I quote, "I do not think he should receive a bond. I do know that he's innocent until proven guilty. However, there are serious accusations against him and he has money. I don't want anything to happen to me or my family. I don't think he should receive a bond at all." To which YNW Melly's lawyer would object what she said.
I have, again, I would object to the court even considering the statements of people that even the state has no idea where they are. We have, as I brought up several times, prior to the trial, during the trial, we have attempted to subpoena those people for deposition numerous times, most of them. And there's a material witness bond as we speak on Mariah Hamilton. They don't know where she is.
As Melly's lawyer made the point that even if YNW Melly gets released on bail and has all of his money, why would he want revenge against witnesses in this case? Melly has no idea where any of these people live. Now, many believe this was a weak objection, but if you really remember what these witnesses did to YNW Melly's mother during trial, you would think otherwise. Beginning with YNW Juvie's sister reaching out to Melly's mother on social media.
What's been going on in the courtroom?
Well, Anjanette, it's been a very interesting morning. It did start off earlier with the defense bringing up an issue. Apparently, Juvie's sister posted on, I guess, one of the social media outlets, and she said that she was going to Jamie King. And so that caused a big, issue in the courtroom. It wasn't anything that we got on tape, but it did happen this morning. It was on the record, and she has a bodyguard now. So that was one of the first issues that the court dealt with this morning. And it was interesting because the judge did basically say, if you needed more security, I can get it for you. Ultimately, it was determined that the security she had, the bodyguard, was going to be enough. So
shout out to Reddit, because we had to do some digging to find the sister. Now, this is the sister, Ashley Monique. And let me show you the post that she had posted on Facebook, because, honey, it was quite the stir. So she posted this screenshot from Jamie King, YNW Melly's mother, and she said, "Pest control, who called about?" Now, that was in regards to a post made by Trayvon Glass on his Instagram page, where he basically said that he's not worried about anything, and if he's come exterminate him. So in a nutshell, Melly's mom is calling Trayvon Glass a, and Monique replied back and says, "A is when you do something wrong and not take responsibility and then go and set somebody up because you're scared to lay down." She goes on to say, "That's not the case here. Fetty was Juvie's friend, not Melly. He was only around because Juvie brought him." Now in the comments, somebody says she better find something safe to do. Another person replied back and says, "Very well said." Another person tagged Jamie, and somebody else said, "Come get." Now Ashley was in the comments and says, "She even has a bodyguard, child." Another person replied and says, "Yeah, she need one because she's talking like she's 200 pounds and she ain't even pushing 100. Now somebody else posted this and says she's going to need them because she in the wrong city talking. Now, I think that when Melly's defense attorneys found this, they submitted it over to the judge and basically was like, Juvie's sister's out here Melly's mom. Now, the judge did state that if Melly's mom needed security, he would issue her security, and then he found out that she had a bodyguard, and that would be sufficient enough.
As after the social media altercation, YNW Melly would be seen the next day asking her if she's okay inside a court.
Sorry.
You'll just don't do it.
As the following day, YNW Melly then made his lawyers put in a request for Jamie King to have 24/7 security with her at all times. Thankfully, it was accepted. Boosie would then even share how bad of a situation this was for Melly's mom.
Okay, so you
then I
showed-
met his mama while he was in.
Oh, okay.
I met his mom while he was in, and she real, bro. You know, she real.
She's stressed out. I heard she had a.
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand out to him, cause I'm real. Yeah, I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom, and she a good woman, bro. And when I see them mamas like that, it remind me of what my mom was going through, bro.
As I can definitely see a reason why YNW Melly would want some sort of revenge against these people if they were to be released. Now, it's important to also remember why YNW Melly was even granted the first mistrial. As it states, according to a juror who served in the YNW Melly trial, claims a majority of the jurors wanted to convict him. However, one woman that was on the jury was determined to find Melly not guilty, and she convinced two others to say he wasn't guilty too. Quote, his mom is lying, it was a 9-3 vote, not the other way around. As this is in response to Melly's mother, who after the mistrial was granted, posted on her Snapchat saying, 9 not guilties, 3 guilty. It was a mistrial, my son will be home soon. God is still working. However, it gets a lot deeper than this, as it seems the juror that was causing the issues knew from the beginning she was not going to change her mind at all.
Now, this is from Local 10 News right out of Fort Lauderdale. And they said most jurors wanted to convict Melly of 2 counts of the Broward County, the former juror has said. Now, this juror is speaking on the condition of anonymity, which means that they're not going to disclose their identity. The juror blamed the mistrial on one woman who served on the jury who appeared to be determined to acquit Jamel Demons. The juror goes on to say that from day one, she had issues with the 4-person selected, at one point crossing her arms and saying that she was done. When another juror asked to not shut down and she set her feelings aside, she was manipulative, she was rude, she yelled insults at everyone, and she was just had a different opinion. The juror stated that she was there just to cause chaos.
Now, sources claim she wanted to be some sort of hero, possibly wanting fame to be the one to save YNW Melly's life in this case. The original votes were 11-1 for Melly being guilty, with the juror that wanted to be the hero voting not guilty by herself. However, she would then do something unexpected.
On the last day of deliberation, the former juror said that while it appeared that there was 11-1 to convict Demons, the woman pulled 2 jurors aside and spoke to them for a few minutes and convinced them to come to her side. They stated, and I quote, then she came over and announced to the group that they had changed their minds, but when another juror asked why she was speaking for them, the former juror said, adding that the woman then hurled insults, including at the man who was questioning her. And without an agreement, Broward County Circuit Judge John J. Murphy declared the mistrial, and you guys remember that.
However, the juror that did the interview mentioned why they even spoke about it in the first place, which goes and makes YNW Melly's mother look extremely unprofessional.
The former juror said that the decision to speak up about what happened behind the scenes resulted from reports from Demon's mother, Jamie King, who said that they were deadlocked at 9-3 in favor of an acquittal, which again, we find out from this juror, is incorrect. The former juror said it was actually the opposite. She said that she had came out because she said, I don't want someone out there changing my vote. And she then goes on to say that you tell a lie enough, it becomes the truth. Now here's the best snippet. It says the next hearing for the case is on August 4th, and Demon's team, as well as the prosecutors, agreed to start jury selection for the next trial on October 2nd. But again, we don't know if the judge is going to agree to a dual trial.